Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? In the last 24 hours, there's been 91 earthquakes. What? Are you serious? What? Yes, it is. 91 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. The earth is literally shaking and quaking, and the devil's back is breaking because he realizes that the end times are here and Christ is soon to return. Matter of fact, the Bible says Jesus was asked this question. I'm going to tell you how these big quakes are right now. You won't believe what's happening in Alaska right now. But Jesus was asked. He was sitting on the Mount of Olives. The disciples came unto him privately and said, Master, tell us, what will be the signs of thy coming and the end of the world? And Jesus said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you by any means, for false Christ and false prophets shall rise, and they shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of, see that you be not troubled. He said, for all these things must come to pass. For there shall be wars and rumors of wars, and nations would rise against nations, and kingdoms against kingdoms. And there shall be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes. Earthquakes in divers places. I want to tell you to Jack and Mindy, thank you for sending that book to me. Thank you. I really want to thank you for that. Now, here's what's going on in the last 24 hours. Hang on, folks, because it's getting really rocky. And when you hear of 91 earthquakes that are at least 2.5 or higher, you know the Bible said in the book of Isaiah, it says that the earth is going to reel and rock like a drunken man. Now, this certainly taking place, Isaiah 24:20. There was a 4.4 earthquake in the Solomon Islands. There was a Puerto Rico, and then U.S. Virgin Islands, and then a 4.0 earthquake in Russia, then Puerto Rico, British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, 4.7 quake in Japan, then Kansas, Puerto Rico, Bonaire, and then a 4.2 in Afghanistan, 4.7 Japan again, then Puerto Rico, California, and Alaska. Then a 5.1 earthquake in Alaska, followed by the Dominican Republic, and then Puerto Rico, and then a 4.5 Alaska, 5.3 earthquake shaking things up in Alaska. Puerto Rico had a quake again, British Virgin Islands again, and then 5.6 earthquake shaking in Alaska, 4.1 Alaska. And then the British Virgin Islands, then a 5.1 earthquake in Alaska, 4.1 Alaska, 2.9 Alaska, 4.7 Alaska, 3.9 Alaska, 4.1 Alaska. I mean, these are some powerful quakes. And then a 4.6 strong earthquake in Peru, 4.2 Alaska, and then a 3.8 Alaska, followed by Puerto Rico, a couple smaller quakes in Alaska, and then a 4.6 earthquake in Alaska. Then it was the British Virgin Islands, and then a 4.2 Alaska, 3.8 Alaska. Then there was Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Alaska with a smaller quake, and then a 5.4 earthquake, again shaking Alaska. Now the British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, before a 4.2 earthquake in Alaska. Smaller quake again, U.S. Virgin Islands, and then in Alaska before a 4.5 shook Alaska. Then there was a 3.3 in Alaska, 4.6 earthquake in Chile, 4.2, 4.2, 4.2, all in Alaska, about 7 to 9 minutes apart. Then there was a 2.6 Alaska, followed by the British Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and then a 4.1 earthquake in Alaska, followed by a 4.5 shaking in Alaska. And then there was a 3.1 in British Virgin Islands. 5.9, the strongest quake of the 24-hour period, shook Russia. Then the British Virgin Islands, Alaska, and then a 4.0 in Alaska. 4.9, again, Russia. And then there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive earthquakes, all in the British Virgin Islands, all about 15 to 18 minutes apart, and all of them around 3.1, 3.4, 3.3 in that neighborhood. A 5.3 earthquake shook France. And then we have 3 more quakes in the British Virgin Islands, followed by 2 more smaller quakes in Alaska, followed by Dominican Republic, the U.S. Virgin Islands, 2 more smaller quakes in the British Virgin Islands before a 4.6 earthquake here has hit Japan. And then 1, 2, 3 more smaller quakes in the British Virgin Islands and Alaska and the British Virgin Islands, and a 4.6 again Chile, and a 4.4 just a few minutes ago hits Peru. Now 91 earthquakes. I mean, normally when I get a report, it's usually around, 20, usually around 30 earthquakes a day will register in the world at 2.5 or higher. This is unbelievable. I usually get 1 page of a report. This is the list. It takes 2 pages. And remember, all of these earthquakes are over 2.5. I mean, we're talking about 91 earthquakes here in a 24-hour period. There's no question that Alaska is shaking and quaking. Japan is also. Chile is again. Russia is also. And the British Virgin Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands and are really shaking as well. But Alaska and Russia and Japan and Chile, we really got to keep a close eye on all of those regions, and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. So 91 earthquakes. Jesus said this is what would be happening in the last days as we're in a September to remember. Listen to this. The stock market has been falling, not only in America, but in China and all of Europe and Asian markets. Also, remember this. We have seen unscheduled blood moons over Illinois and New Jersey and other parts of America. Also, we have seen 60,000 antelopes die in this month. We've also seen a massive explosion for the 3rd time hit a chemical plant in China. We've seen Russian invasion of Syria. Planes, tanks, jeeps, armored vehicles, thousands of troops, all joining forces with the Iranians in Damascus as we speak. That's going on as well. There is the CERN had to shut down, and they're trying to fire it up in time to crank it up wide open for September 23rd. These are things that have happened so far in the month of September, and we're just getting started. This is the 5th of September. I mean, I'm trying to comprehend what's been going on here. It's just incredible what we've been witnessing, but it's something that we knew was coming. And I was telling folks this September, everybody's looking at all the dates and the certain events, Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets, the Day of Atonement, the Feast of Tabernacles, the 4th and final blood moon, a super blood moon, the Hajj that takes place the same day as the Day of Atonement on 9/23, the same day the Pope arrives in America, the same day the CERN is going to crank up and try to burn all the way to the top level. I mean, those are all on the same day. We got Madonna, desecration of the bride and arrival of the fallen ones. We got sinkhole opened up in the Dead Sea, a mammoth. We've got ISIS beheading 25 soldiers in front of a Roman amphitheater in Syria. 60,000 dead antelopes in Kyrgyzstan. Just unbelievable. I mean, wars, rumors of wars. There's 91 earthquakes today. We know there's the United Nations has announced they're going to do a what they call a global sustainability agenda, what they call Agenda 2030. That was announced already this month. There was the Mount of Olives, the graves that were destroyed along the Mount of Olives in Israel. There was five Chinese warships off the coast of Alaska. President Obama goes to Alaska and changes the name of Mount McKinley. Are you serious? And now we got earthquakes in Alaska as well. 100 goats died mysteriously in India. It just goes on. And we got Christians are being arrested and thrown in jail in this month. This is a September to remember. This is only September 5th. Are you serious? And we're not even talking about all the things you guys were looking for. These are events that we weren't even looking at these. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a September to remember. We're in the last days. Give your life to Jesus Christ, because we are, without a question, running out of time. Jesus is coming soon. Please, don't be left behind.